TLO, what's pop? We are on Twitch. We are live. By the time you see this, we won't be. So just leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bells. Let's continue to grow the family from Chicago to the UK, man. Right behind me, you see a little warning screen. I think this will be needed, so read it and weep. YouTube, it is here. This is for documentary purposes. I'm watching a documentary for educational purposes. Don't forget, man, twitch.com is where you can catch the live stream. Usernames at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, and we also got Patreon 7 days a week, plus Premier League highlights. This is SAS Iranian Embassy Siege documentary, Operation Nimrod. You know I like my little history, man, and things of that nature, so I'm here to be educated. Talk to me.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. No copyright infringement intended. All rights belong to their respective owners.
Whoa, chat's on the screen, tough. Wednesday, this is in 1980.
Early morning, and it's another routine day for PC Trevor Locke. He's off to work, diplomatic protection duty at the Iranian embassy on the edge of Hyde Park. He doesn't know that others are also heading for the embassy that morning with guns and grenades. At 11:30, PC Locke is having a coffee with the concierge inside the front door when his world is turned upside down.
I'm not even gonna lie, man. People that have to risk their life for their job, salute. Salute. But people who have to risk their life for their job but don't abuse their power, salute.
The gunmen attack.
He pulled out a machine pistol and pointed it at me. I looked up and there were three more guys similarly dressed to him, and the guy in the middle just let off a blat of gunfire. I remember the gun going off very close. I fell back. I thought I'd been shot. In minutes, I literally mean within minutes, they'd secured the building.
Earlier that morning, 2 BBC staff had left for the Iranian embassy to chase up visas. They're Sim Harris, a sound recordist, and Chris Kramer, a news producer. Both are waiting in the embassy when they're attacked.
The terrorists were screaming at us, you know, put your hands up, you know, put your hands against...
I'd be devastated. Imagine me going like, imagine any of us, imagine anybody watching this just going somewhere and being in this situation. And you looking at this dude like, man, hey, chill. Me personally, if you do this in Chicago, like you might not make it out of there. Don't come in there with that energy in Chicago, because everybody in there probably strapped. So you're going to have a tough day trying to do something like this. It's in the city. So it got to be in like the city.
Against the wall.
This little tiny Arabic-looking guy with a keffir on and kind of little bulgy eyes starts to hop around the room with a pistol and with this sort of bright green hand grenade in one hand, which has certainly got my attention.
All right, well, if that's what you're coming with, never mind.
The habit of taking the pin from the grenade and then putting it back in the grenade and then taking the pin out and putting it back in again. And this is, you know, a nervous tick, but it's an explosive nervous tick. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, that's a lot.
An armed man has forced a policeman on duty outside the Iranian embassy in London to go inside the building. He's now said to be being held at gunpoint.
Armed police wearing bulletproof vests have surrounded the embassy building and ambulances are on hand.
This in London?
In fact, inside the embassy, 6 armed men have taken 26 people hostage, the majority Iranian diplomatic staff, 6 of them women. C-13, Scotland Yard's anti-terrorist squad, moves in next door.
But you can't see, and even in Chicago, you can't go into none of these building types like this armed. So only security would have it on them. So never mind. Completely disregard my whole statement.
John Dello takes overall command. 135 miles away, in Hereford, the SAS, the Army's military elite, are getting ready for a routine anti-terrorist exercise.
No more exercises. It's go time.
3 members of its top-secret counter-terrorist team are Tom, a sniper, SAS veteran Mac, who's an assault specialist, and Trooper Robin Horsfall, a karate expert.
One of my friends, Bob, came across to me, one of the sniper team, and he said, hey, there's an operation going on in London. Apparently, the Iranian embassy's just been hijacked by some terrorists.
I was going to camp early, get a cup of tea and have a chat as normal. They bumped to one of the lads and they said, the exercise is off, and I thought, oh great, because I mean, to do the exercise meant working the weekend. And you know, nobody likes to work a weekend, you like a few days off, and I thought, oh great. And they said, it's for real. And I went, yeah, of course it is, bollocks, you know, I just walked away.
We're on pages on different states of readiness, and I was on what we termed first team at the time, and I was called out, so we had a fairly instant reaction time.
He looked like a version of Tom Cruise.
Into our camp, and from there we were briefed very quickly, and we were gone from the camp very, very quickly.
Back inside the embassy, the gunmen search the hostages. PC Locke has a revolver concealed beneath his police uniform.
I thought to myself, do I use the gun? These things were flooding through my head. Do I?
PC Locke, you made the right choice. To prevent loss of life, it would not have benefited anybody in there for you, one person, to use a firearm against 6 armed, fully auto pistols. Like, it wouldn't have, in a grenade, it wouldn't have made no shots. It wouldn't have made no sense. And a 6-shooter, revolver.
Do the John Wayne bit? Do I start blatting everybody in sight? The old adrenaline was racing, very nervous. It was more a gesture than a search. And then he told me to follow the rest. So there I was, walking up the stairs to the other rooms with the rest, still in uniform, 6 rounds in my pocket, and a gun on my hip, fully loaded.
Oh, wait, whoa. You had 6 rounds in your pocket and a fully loaded semi-automatic? Well, he had 2 firearms. Still. I wouldn't did.
With a major terrorist incident in the heart of London, the government machine swings into action. By early afternoon, ministers and officials are gathered in the government's crisis centre in Whitehall, known as Cobra, the Cabinet Office briefing room. The minutes are ticking away. No one knows who the gunmen are or what they want.
Quite soon into this incident, they produce these bits of paper, and it's a ramble. It's a ramble about a part of Iran I've never even heard of and don't really care about, and it defines their objectives, and their objectives are muddy. You know, they want independence for this part of Iran I've never heard of. They may have seized this building in the centre of London, but this is not the way that you should go about these objectives. It's really it's amateurish.
The gunmen are from a region in southern Iran that they call Arabistan. They want autonomy for the area. By mid-afternoon, the outside world hears the voice of the...
So is it controlled by the UK or the Queen or what was it like?
Gunmen for the first time when a BBC newsman, amazingly, speaks directly to their leader.
Why have you taken hostages inside the embassy?
Because we had some demand to get what we want. The free of 91 prisoners.
You want 91 prisoners in Iran to be set free?
Yeah. You know, that's a group who are fighting for their legitimate rights, justice, and they are fighting for the autonomy for Arabistan.
Those running the Cabinet Office briefing room are bewildered. Richard Hasty-Smith is the government official in charge of Cobra.
Had you heard of Arabistan?
No.
Had you heard of the call?
Imagine sitting in a place of authority in the UK and not knowing where they're talking about. Like, wait, who? They don't even know what's going on.
No, not really. Not at all.
I don't know, but if the UK is anything like America, they do not submit to terrorist acts, so it don't even...
So you hadn't really much idea what it was all about?
None at all.
The gunmen's demands are politically naive. It's inconceivable the British government would persuade Iran to release political prisoners. Diplomatic relations have been under strain for the past year, since Iran's Islamic Revolution swept Ayatollah Khomeini to power. For Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, the siege is the first test of her uncompromising rhetoric on terrorism.
Margaret was in there? How do y'all feel about Margaret Thatcher? I just need to know. Like, I've heard things, but like the general consensus, like, what is it? Was she cool? Was she not good? I don't know.
What was Mrs. Thatcher's line on the gunmen?
Got it.
That there was no question of them walking away. None whatsoever. That it was just as simple as that.
It was that absolute?
Yes.
Why?
I think both intellectually and emotionally, she really had a horror of terrorists and absolute determination not to let them win.
As the hostages prepare for their first night in captivity, the gunmen are still demanding the release of their 91 jail comrades. But the news from Iran brings no hope of an early end to the siege.
Did the UK have some type of controlling interest in the area? Why did they go there? Why was this the attack point?
Here in Tehran, they have decided not to release the 91 Arabs being held in Khuzestan, the oil-producing province. The Revolutionary Council spokesman, Dr. Habibi, said that Iran should not submit to the demands of the militants.
Under the cloak of darkness, the SAS silently slip into Regent's Park Barracks, just 3 miles away from the embassy. Operation Nimrod is about to begin. The gunmen and hostages awake to the news that the Iranian foreign minister has declared that the prisoners will not be released. The gunman's response is chilling.
I think he will regret for this statement.
Can you go into details? What do you mean he will regret it?
I mean, after the deadline, we will kill everybody here, all the hostages.
The gunmen set a deadline of 12 noon. Then the executions begin.
A crouching figure stumbled through the front door of the embassy, across the pavement and between the parked cars.
For a few seconds, the policemen in the neighbouring doorways did not apparently register that it was one of the hostages, but it was one of the BBC newsmen, Chris Kramer, and he was obviously in pain.
I was escorted to an ambulance, and they tried to put a mask on my face, and I said, I don't want that mask, I want to talk to someone now. Stop the ambulance, you know. There are gunmen in there with hand grenades, and there are 6 of them, and I was terrified that they were going to storm the embassy, thinking there was maybe only 1 or 2. And I said, you know, you need to get word to the authorities that there are 6 extremely well-armed gunmen in there. And he stopped the ambulance and he jumped out.
Chris Kramer is safe in a hospital bed.
That's good intel. Don't be misinformed. Don't go to the fight misinformed now.
We weren't going to go in unless anybody was killed, but as soon as somebody was killed, then it was highly likely that we would. That had come straight from Downing Street, as far as we knew. Margaret Thatcher's policy was, we do not...
What? Wait, what? You're not going in unless there's loss of life? Not to prevent loss of life? That seems a little backwards now.
Unless anybody was killed, but as soon as somebody was killed, then it was highly likely that we would. That had come straight from Downing Street, as far as we knew. Margaret Thatcher's policy was, we do not negotiate with terrorists. And we'd already...
I agree with that. No, yeah, the SAS. They should have jumped right down their throat. This is a crazy situation. I don't think, me personally, like, wait until somebody loses their life and their whole family is uprooted and changed for the rest of their genealogical, I don't know, for the rest of everybody's life is a little bit deep.
Being given the nod that if anybody was killed, then she wasn't going to put up with it, that we were going to carry out an assault.
The deadline arrives. No shots, no explosions, no deaths.
Okay.
But the gunmen repeat their threats to kill their captives. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner makes a plea to the hostage takers.
The gunmen inside the Iranian embassy must know that it is not within our power to meet all of their demands. I appeal to them to remain calm.
The SAS and
it's a board game just as the factor of tit for tat. So like playing chess, but man, playing chess with people's life on stake is wild. I guess her gamble paid off to see if they was crying wolf or to see if they was really about it or not, because they ain't do nothing.
Now ordered to move within striking range of the gunmen. That night, they transfer their operational base to a building next door to the embassy.
Very, very covertly, we went in 2 big covered Pantechnicon lorries, and we would go to the back, clambered over walls, through windows and everything, get into number 15 next door to the embassy.
The next thing you had to do was do an immediate action. Immediate action being the assault plan, should everything go wrong right at this particular second now.
Basically, if the thing goes tits up, you know, if something went wrong, I mean, it could be anything, and it was decided from the hierarchy to say, right, okay, send in the boys. You've always got a set number of people ready to go in straight away.
In full kit?
They're all ready, full kit, tooled up the lot.
And what's the potential of those weapons?
Well, depends what you find it. Human body, kill them.
Until we started getting information about the building and the terrorists and the situation, there was very little for us to do. You could only sharpen a knife so much. The knife was already sharp. It was razor sharp. There was nothing left to do except wait for information.
As dawn breaks, the police are
Day 3? Hold on. What? Hold on.
Are still short of precise intelligence about the situation inside the embassy. A field telephone is sent in. From now on, they can only communicate with the outside world through a team of police negotiators.
When you think about it,
You have a number of hostage takers, they're armed, and they have hostages. They're in charge. Are they? They're isolated in a house. They can't communicate with anybody unless they communicate with the police. They can't even get cigarettes without asking for it. Everything they require has to be asked for. And over a period of time, it does have an effect on them. They aren't as in charge as they think they are.
That's true. Even food, right?
The police play
Pizza?
Mr. Nice Guy and send in provisions, but in fact they're secretly snatching photographs and collecting fingerprints to build up profiles of the gunmen. But their identities remain a mystery until the police ask the British Embassy in Baghdad to check recent visa applications. They're in luck. 6 forms are sent to London with 6 photographs. The leader of the group calls himself Salim.
Yeah, they out of luck. They were some rookies. They didn't even have gloves on or anything.
These photographs turn up and it was like, these are the baddies.
Just being outsmarted, that's all.
You look at a picture and you don't look at the whole face. You do, but you don't. You look for something that's distinction mark, you know. It's like the old boss man, I always remember him. To me, he looked like a hawk.
Was that a
There
mole?
were many officers spent hours and hours looking into the backgrounds of these people for the days or the weeks before the event to try and find out who was controlling them. And from their activities, they had already bought presents to take home to their families. They'd been shopping in Harrods and other places. And some of those presents had actually been sent home. They were also, shall we say...
So what was this, a spur of the moment thing? Like, what they was out here shopping, running credit cards through? Like, what was the end goal?
Wining and dining and enjoying the pleasures of ladies that they paid for.
It's like 6 idiots.
The police also discover that there's a 7th member of the group.
Really? 29. Alright. See where this goes.
He's the mastermind, a mysterious Iraqi intelligence officer called Sammy Mohammed Ali. His orders are to orchestrate an armed siege at the Iranian embassy in the heart of London. He's recruited and trained the gunmen in Baghdad. Once in England, he supplies guns and grenades and assures them that they'll return to Iraq as heroes. He then does a runner to Heathrow and flies out as the embassy is seized, leaving his comrades to their fate.
I don't think
I'm not returning.
Those that had organised them had told them the truth. The chances are that they would be holed up there and it would end up as a terrorist situation.
And it's a crash out mission. You're not coming back from it.
Because they really thought they were going home within 24 hours, that we would capitulate, put them on aeroplanes and they'd be back in their own country. But the reality was they weren't going anywhere. And it took a long time for that to begin to dawn on them.
As day 3 ends, the gunmen realise the only things going to Baghdad are their Harrods purchases. They've been abandoned by their minder Sammy.
Wait, the person talking is wilding.
To Baghdad are their Harrods purchases. They've been abandoned by their minder Sammy and by the Iraqi regime. With Mustafa to interpret, the gunmen allow PC Locke to negotiate with the police outside, a responsibility he accepts to lighten his sense of guilt.
Trevor was extremely bothered that, you know, in his view he'd allowed it to happen. You know, he sort of said, I'm in for a right rollicking when we get out of here. I'm meant to protect this embassy. I said, well, you can't protect it from 6 armed men, Trevor, for God's sake, you know.
Yeah, Trev, this ain't even on you, buddy. There's 6 with fully automatic weapons, like, and granadas. So it's not gonna happen.
I'm sure you did your best, but they were going to come in anyway.
As the world's media wait and watch, the hostages try to persuade the gunman to give up and make an honourable surrender.
We told them, if it was publicity you want, the best idea for you is to decide to give up. You will get all the world media inside this embassy. At that moment, you make your decision. We decided to give ourselves up, and the hostages are free to go. Can you imagine what kind of victory your cause would have achieved if you do that? We reached that stage, talking to them, talking about the graphic scenes, you know, what would happen if they decide to take the step. And of course, when we reached that moment, we felt hopeful.
So the chat saying the people that sent them just for like propaganda to like put more attention on what was going on, which is crazy.
Their arguments prove persuasive. The gunmen demand that the BBC should broadcast a statement about the Arabistani cause. Trevor and Mustafa plead with the police to make it happen. The hope is that after publicity for their cause, the gunmen will surrender. It's agreed the BBC will broadcast the statement at 9 p.m.
The statement of the group holding the hostages. We swear to God and to the British people and government that no danger whatsoever would be inflicted.
From the first word he uttered, everybody in the room, some of us were sitting, some of us were standing, some of them were, outside the door, etc. Every single one of us started jumping, hugging each other, cheering, as if a victory happened.
We demand the 3 ambassadors, Algerian, Jordanian and Iraqi, to start their jobs in negotiating to secure the safety of the hostages and to terminate the whole operation peacefully.
The gunmen themselves come into the room, mingled among us and jump with us, and also cheering and kissing each other. Yes!
There's joy inside and relief outside. Perhaps the stalemate is broken. The police arrange for a takeaway, and for the first time in 4 days, gunmen and hostages enjoy a meal together.
It's the first meal in 4 days? Imagine somebody that's big boned in here. Imagine somebody got a back that's big going with 4 days without eating. Imagine me in that building 3 months ago. Oh my God, I'd have been tight. 4 days?
Together. These photographs were taken by the gunman using a camera belonging to a hostage. The camera was later found inside the embassy. Belonging to a hostage.
They look like they're having a good old time. Who is this? This one of the broadcasters? He is way too happy.
The camera was later found inside the embassy. The photos were intended as souvenirs of the gunman's trip to London. They've never been shown before.
So you think it's all over?
Brody thought he was going home doing this. He got a peace symbol up, but is in the middle of a hostage situation. What? Brother, you going to meet your maker. You ain't getting up out of here.
Well, I think we're cruising then. They'd sent cigarettes in, not that I smoked, but they'd sent cigarettes in, they'd sent food in. Yeah, I thought, slept quite well that night.
Was I muted? I wasn't muted.
Good morning to you. It's 6:30. This is Richard Bourne, and welcome to another day's programmes on Radio London 206 and VHF. I'll be here with you
On Sunday morning, the mood is optimistic and Salim is happy. The end of the siege may well be in sight.
Salim was contemplating giving up. There was something in his voice, because I'd said to him, look, come on, this can't go on. You cannot stay here for the rest of your life. There has to be an ending. You haven't hurt anybody. You haven't killed anybody. It's time to give up. I forget exactly what he said, but I had the feeling that he was probably going to, they were beginning to think that way.
Inside the embassy, one of the gunmen, flushed with the success of the broadcast, writes insulting slogans about Iran's leader, Ayatollah Khomeini.
I remember distinctly.
One of the gunmen, flushed with the success of the broadcast, writes insulting slogans about Iran's leader, Ayatollah Khomeini.
I remember distinctly one of the slogans which said in Arabic, يسقط الشاه المعمم, down with the new Shah, quite offensive to the Islamic Revolution and to Khomeini himself.
Watching with fast burning anger is a young Iranian hostage called Abbas Labasani. He's the embassy's press attaché and fervent disciple of the Islamic Revolution. Faisal is Salim's second in command. To the hostages, he's the toughest of the gunmen.
It suddenly went from this relaxed, how are we going to go home today, atmosphere, to the complete opposite. And he was absolutely throwing all this excitable verbal venom at Faisal. Faisal got very upset by what was being said, and he was going to shoot him.
So there was issues within it.
He said, I'm ready to die, and he opened his shirt like this. You can kill me anytime, I'm ready to die. I'm a martyr for the revolution.
The SAS are updated on the gunmen's new belligerence. They bother not.
If you go near aggression straight off, you will put people off. Even though somebody could be stood there with a weapon pointing at you, but if you're running towards him, yeah, he will become frightened, yeah, because you're aggressive.
We were young, we were immortal, nobody could beat us. We were the best. We believed wholeheartedly that we were the best, and we knew that we were quite capable of dealing with any scenario.
Talk about it.
Terrorists thrust upon us.
Yeah. I like that energy. When I hear military people talk like that, yeah, hey, protect me. Absolutely. You better feel like that when you coming to protect me. Yeah. Even though this is the SAS, yeah, I was protecting my homies. I was protecting my friends. The UK people.
The gunmen are becoming...
And y'all gotta send a dude with the mustache in first, because I feel like he's just the best at what he does. 100%. Every time there's somebody there with a mustache thicker than this, with like 3 of these stacked on top of each other, oh yeah. He's him. He's him at whatever military job he does. Yeah, that's Mac. Yeah, that's him. And then his name Mac. Come on now.
Becoming increasingly desperate. They're demanding that 3 Arab ambassadors should come to the embassy and negotiate safe passage out of the country.
I'm not going home.
They've been assured by Sammy, their minder, that they'll be able to leave Britain safely.
It's not the same
type of mustache.
promise
Is a lie. Sammy has set them up.
W. Sammy.
They believed that there would be named ambassadors that would ensure their safe exit from this country, and believed we were denying them. And so we did get to that point where it was almost inevitable that we could not carry on negotiating.
It's like day 6, isn't it?
There's Deadlock. Salim is reaching boiling point and blames the police for stalling the arrival of the ambassadors.
You can telephone that bloody bastard ambassadors why they take the time, why they kill the time.
The Arab ambassadors...
They want to talk about are they are going to planning for a war just for discussion. They can't send one of them here. We have nothing to say more. We will kill one at 6:25 minutes.
Salim.
Sim and Trevor plead for the ambassadors to come. They know they're their only lifeline. Salim's patience has run out. It's now a matter of life or death.
I heard bang, and then immediately after, followed by 2 more shots.
Somebody actually
Bang.
got shot?
2 more shots. And although I hadn't seen it, I'd heard a classic execution.
Wow.
The shots are heard outside. Nobody knows if they're just...
And that's all Margaret Thatcher needed to hear.
...just a bluff. Lavasani's body lies in the hall of the embassy for nearly 6 hours. The shocking reality is finally revealed when his corpse is thrown from the embassy door.
Yeah, buddy, it's wraps now. Yeah. Ain't nobody going home. Y'all can wrap it up. Y'all go ahead and wrap it up. Hold on, wait a minute now. No. Let's. We already know what's happening now. There's something crazy happening. Okay.
The post-mortem shows that Lavasani has been shot twice in the head and once in the chest.
They've killed one now. What difference is it going to make if they kill 2 or 3? Now they've started to play those cards. Yeah, they've gone over the line.
And that was execution style. That's crazy.
And there was no way they could go back because the man was dead. The only thing they could do then, if they wanted to save their lives, was put their hands up and walk out the door with them on top of their heads, really.
Salim said to me, "What will the police do now?" And I said, "I don't know. I've told you that as long as you didn't cause us any harm, you didn't injure anybody or kill anybody, they wouldn't attack." I said, "I've never lied to you. I don't know what they're going to do now. This has never happened in England before." I said, "The best thing you can do now is to give up.
You could have guessed what they was doing,
To go
but you
and
ain't
give
want
up
to keep
now
it real.
before it gets any worse."
Although they've shed blood, the gunmen still believe they can get the ambassadors and negotiate a flight to freedom.
No.
Meanwhile, the police contemplate the next move.
Calm down, Salim.
No, we don't calm down.
Calm down.
We will kill one after 45 minutes.
Salim.
29. Now the time is...
Salim, are you still there?
No, we will kill the other.
Look.
We are very sorry. We are very sorry.
When the meeting...
No. To send one of the at least one of the ambassadors.
Ain't nobody coming to save y'all. Listen, the only person y'all can count on coming is the Grim Reaper. At this point, you're done. You're done, but I see you gotta be hopeful in things of that nature. But Margaret Thatcher and the SAS was on your bottoms after that. You could have counted your days. And Buddy in there with the dimples was trying to just keep you calm, waiting for it to happen. Talking about give up. Y'all was going to go to jail forever. Y'all wasn't going to go home. At this point, it was jail or the casket.
7 minutes past 7, John Dello finally hands over control from the police to the SAS.
And that was the end.
The SAS get ready for the assault. To distract the gunmen whilst they move into position, the police play for time. They tell Salim that the government has given in, the Iraqi ambassador is on his way, and a coach is arriving to take them to the airport. The SAS have to move in before the gunmen kill again. They plan to assault the embassy from top to bottom, through every available skylight and window.
We move closely up to the building. We get onto the back door, we get onto the roof. The ropes are attached and prepared. Everybody's just about ready to go. The next stage is for everybody to move on to their assault position.
There was this atmosphere that something was going to happen. I didn't know how, what or where, but something was going to happen.
Hello, Salim. Hello, sir, this is Trevor. Hello, Trevor. He's told me, he's insisted that I come down and speak to you and tell you directly that if anything is done re-attack, all hostages will be killed.
Say it again, my fault. My hand was ashy. It was unbelievable.
Tell you directly that if anything is done re-attack, all hostages will be killed.
So basically, you add an insult to injury. These are empty threats. It's already been handed over to the SAS. You're done.
Trying to organise, Trevor, is the coach and the aircraft and the movement of the Iraqi ambassador.
Trevor was told to find out what was going on. There was an assault. Something is going on, in which I was saying to Trevor, no, there isn't. Absolutely nothing going on as I watched the SAS come down on their ropes.
And I'm going to let you speak to the Iraqi ambassador, and I will get him to reassure you that nothing is going to happen.
First of all, we will see him.
Salim.
We are listening to some suspicion movement.
There is no suspicious movement.
There's suspicion. Okay.
Salim.
Just a minute, I'll come back again. I'm going to check.
You wasn't coming back. Ain't no coming back in a minute. Give me a minute. Nah, you're done. That's what I like to hear.
I never forget those words.
I like to hear justice.
I'm going to check. And as he just, in the very millisecond that he dropped the phone onto the chair and started to walk towards me.
At 7:23, the SAS detonate a huge explosion to blow out the skylight on the embassy roof and throw the gunmen off their guard.
I ran as hard as I could towards him and managed to hit him with my shoulder in the hip and ran him back maybe 8 to 10 feet towards an office door, and I had him and we were facing the door and he was going nowhere.
Meanwhile, Mac and his mate Mel are heading towards the first floor room with an explosive charge to blow out the window.
Ever the brave soul, courageous Harris, decides this is the time to get out. And I head towards the windows, which are very similar to the windows here. But they've got the shutters across, and there's a chink of light. And I pull the curtain apart. And there's what I thought was a policeman.
There was
I know what, no. That's the SAS.
This thing behind the window. I don't know who I was at the time. Turned out to be old Sam Harris. A bit of a panic, I'd say. He was running like a headless chicken, but that's to be accepted. But we put the charge against the window. Mal was trying to get him to move back, was gesturing and basically got away from the window. Couldn't worry about him being there. I mean, the thing is to get through there.
I thought, wow. And this guy says, get down, get down. And then it's just one almighty explosion.
Yeah, I could feel like I could be a SAS person. No, because they moving great. I ain't even gonna hold you. This is the greatest piece of militant action I've seen.
Because the window just disappeared. There was just shit everywhere, just smoke, dust, rubble. And we stepped through, like, and there was this thing moving, you know, and it was old, Sim, you know, covered in dust, you know, a few cuts, you know, but nothing serious. He was alive, you know.
And so it's like taking part in a Hollywood movie. Suddenly, there's some sort of invasion's happening.
The other lads come in. I think one of them actually picked him up, and he was sort of pushed, you know, told to go to the balcony, you know.
And I think the last one just said to me, "Stay there, don't move, stay where you are." And off they went.
Robin is waiting at the back of the building and watches the assault team abseil down the ropes.
I think they should watch some SAS Who Dare Wins on. I want to participate in SAS Who Dare Wins.
You can hear noise and commotion going on. And I looked up and there was Tom hanging.
Somebody in the chat said he looked like groundskeeper Willie. Ha ha! THC, that's funny.
From his rope, and he'd got his glove caught in his abseil equipment. The curtains have caught fire from one of the stun grenades that's gone in, and it's caught fire on the flames are starting to sweep up the window, and you could hear him screaming down the radio. And I looked up and I thought, well, there's absolutely nothing I could do. And I was thinking, if somebody doesn't cut him down, he's going to burn to death. And the guys on the roof are looking down over the edge at him, but as he pushes himself away from the flames, he's pushing himself beyond the balcony. So if they cut him at the wrong moment, he's actually going to go over the edge of the balcony and drop another 40 feet down onto solid concrete. So they're trying to cut the rope and release him as he's on the inswing, which they succeeded in doing and saving his life.
Trevor and Salim are still locked in their struggle.
All of that preparation they was doing in training exercises is paying off. They're moving real militant and calculated at this.
When Trevor finally decides to draw his revolver.
Oh, Big Trevor finally putting that 6-shot to use. The right moment. You waited until the exact moment that you needed to.
I pulled my gun out of the holster and I pointed it to his temple. I thought, I'm going to kill this bastard. He couldn't believe it. Mr. Trevor's got a gun. He was saying, please don't hurt me, Mr. Trevor. It wasn't me, it was the others. I told them what you were saying was true, but they wouldn't listen. They wanted to carry on. And I thought to myself, if I kill him, I would be killing him out of anger and hatred. And
well, let's get negative, Trevor. Let's get negative.
That's not the way I've been trained.
When the front window was blown in, Mac, Tom and 2 other team members entered the building. Their orders were to rescue any hostages on the first floor.
The drill was that the first pair in would clear that room and contain that room while we went through and cleared the next room. When we got to the door, we went through the normal drill, opened the door a little bit, threw the flashbang in, closed the door, flashbang goes off, and we follow it into the room as fast as you can possibly move.
Two of these, what I call green lemons, they were like the anti-personnel grenades they used to carry, came rolling in. And these were the things that dominated and frightened the life out of me all the time I was in there. I thought, good God. I can see Salim going for his gun.
Trevor!
And whilst I'm trying to stop him getting his gun, I hear the door fly open.
I see Trevor and the terrorists, both armed, wrestling with each other.
I hear, Trevor, get away! And I let go of him and I rolled over to look at the door from where the voice came from. And there he is standing there, this guy who knew me personally as Trevor. And I didn't know him from Adam.
Mustache man. I told you.
And he was dressed in black overalls, mask, had a futuristic looking gun, a balaclava. And as I rolled over, I immediately heard brrr. And I looked back and there was Salim laying there, absolutely lifeless. And he had a line of bullet holes going at a diagonal across from his eye, across his chest.
I had an MP5 sub.
Bro filled him up. I'm talking about pushed his noodle through his oblongata. Boy, golly.
Machine gun, and I shot. I fired several rounds in a small burst into him. I believe he would have been dead before he hit the floor.
Absolutely. Now this is negative. They put smoke in the air after the SAS smoking. My fault.
I was in a bit of a state. I was getting stressed up. I couldn't breathe. And then he said, "Over there, Trevor, to the window." And I climbed over the desk towards a window and touched the window, and it just disintegrated and then vents out. Took my hat off and took the biggest lungful of fresh air that I could get hold of.
Actual footage.
Salim is dead, but there are still 5 other gunmen to be accounted for. Mac.
He showed bro again? Showed him twice? Yeah, I'm editing that out.
Makes for a room on the first floor at the back of the building where he thinks one of them is hiding.
Put a smoke grenade in, flashbang, you know, bang, 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 lots of smoke. We go in, can't find him. But we know he's in there. Up to the door, right, ready, go. In again. So you've got like the room, torches come across, and both the torches sort of hit the guy at the same time. He's lying there, and that was it. It just... And it's bang, bang.
Ain't no waving no white flags, buddy. Ain't no I surrender.
Couple of rounds, job done.
Do you feel anything as you shoot him?
No.
Hell no, I wouldn't have felt nothing either. Nope.
Nothing. It's nothing at all. You know, I mean, it's not been hard.
Right. I felt the recoil. That's about it.
It's just, it's part of the job. You've got to shoot.
It makes the job easier when it's a person doing this type of stuff. So,
but you can't take the chance, and you know, you can't walk up and say, "Excuse me, Mister, whatever your name is. Would you mind giving us a what?"
Right.
So, you've got to shoot them.
2 gunmen are now dead, 4 still at large.
Captain Price in Call of Duty is based on Mac.
Those outside listen in stunned
he sounds and looks familiar.
Silence to the mayhem within.
I just sat there and listened to the noise and believed that a wholesale massacre was going on. I couldn't believe what I was seeing and hearing. Stunned. And drained, to be blunt. Totally drained.
And your feelings?
Failure? Failure mostly. I'd failed because the SAS had gone in. Horror because of what I was hearing. But mostly failure. And a great deal of emotion. It's coming back now.
On the second floor, in the telex room, a group of Iranian hostages has been fired on by 2 of Salim's gunmen. Ali Samazdazeh, an embassy official, is killed instantly.
All right, what, 54 seconds? 54
6 bullets bite into Ahmed Dadgar. Amazingly, he remains conscious. Dadgar says the hostages then persuade the gunmen to surrender. Weapons are seen being thrown from the window, and a white flag appears. Then the SAS enter the room and carry out the most controversial killings of Operation Nimrod.
Were the gunmen who were shot by the SAS armed?
I don't really know that whether they have gun in their own pockets or nothing, but whatever they had in their hands, they throw on the floor.
So did
the gunmen surrender?
Yes, because both of them were sitting there and put their hands on their own heads. Yes.
I see no controversy.
At the same time, the door opened, and then several SAS men came in. And then they took the two terrorists and pushed on the wall and shot them.
Oh, is that what happened?
That's it. Because they wanted to finish their story.
55.
They were going to finish their story, to kill it.
Come on, Blazin'.
Dadgar's account is confirmed by two other Iranian hostages we've spoken to. They were eyewitnesses in the telex room at the time. The inquest into the killings later found the soldiers had used reasonable force. The coroner delivered a verdict of justifiable homicide. With mayhem inside and the embassy now burning, Sim Harris is still left crouching on the balcony.
I could hear behind me, you know, bullets, gunshots and grenades going off and all sorts of things. And from above, debris was beginning to drop. I went to stand up and somebody screamed at me, "Get down, stay flat, stay flat." So, you know, I'm shouting, I'm going to burn to death.
I mean, if you stayed where he was, he wouldn't even get touched with flames, really, you know. But panic, I suppose, set in. So it was bring him back over to the other balcony to bring him back into the room, because he wouldn't come through the flames. I mean, because all the curtains were all falling down, there was shit coming off the ceilings that was starting to burn. I mean, it was hot, because I mean, my boots were actually melting. No, I burnt all the soles of my boots.
Right.
I was prepared to jump. I thought, it's one floor, as long as I can avoid those spikes on the railings, I'll jump.
I'm not even gonna lie to you, sir. That's too much to chance. Avoid the spikes, jump one floor. You're definitely breaking a leg or two. Maybe even getting a spike.
And I kept wanting to go and to stand up. And they kept shouting to me to stay down, stay down. And then they actually threatened to shoot me if I stood up anymore.
To shoot you?
Yeah. I presume it was to persuade me to stay down.
Yeah, because he was panicking.
And then they said, look to your left, look to your left. And I turned round and there was a guy in all the gas mask and all that sort of thing, and gloves, and he was beckoning me over.
And I leaned out and I'm going, come on, come over, you know. And eventually he got enough his courage up and I just reached over and brought him in.
So I then
see, it'd be in times of high pressure that you only can see, like you be tunnel vision, you only see one exit. All bro had to do was look to the left and climb over and go to the balcony. Now, I don't blame him for not being able to see this in the moment. He was panicking. Because he could have honestly did this by himself, but he needed, like, he couldn't see, like, you know what I'm saying? But okay.
Over.
And I leaned out and I'm going, come on, come over, you know. And eventually he got enough his courage up and I just reached over and brought him in.
So I then did what is now lovingly called my balcony scene of leaping over and back into the embassy. I thought, this is madness. They're taking me back in again. What the hell's going on?
We brought him
out the burning room.
And that's when he was sort of, calm down, you're all right, you know. Held him, and then he was passed down the chain, you know. It was just a calm. I mean, he was shitting himself, you know.
Okay.
By this time, they were
okay. Yeah, definitely don't blame him. He was just panicked.
Getting the hostages out, and I tell you, when the SAS gets hostages out, they don't mess about. They were getting hold of us and just throwing us down the stairs.
Get out quickly.
Hand to hand, boom, 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 down they come, into our hands, whap, 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 out the door, out the door, out the door. Now there's smoke, now there's fire as well. So we want these people out quickly, because now we've got the threat of fire as well, and we want to get ourselves out as quickly as possible.
As I grabbed the fellow and pushed him past me, remembering that we were all wearing respirators and we couldn't identify each other, but the hostages we could see and identify. As he went past, I knew that I had seen him, and I couldn't for a second or so, remember where I'd seen him from. But as I let him go and he was passed on down the line, I remember from the photos, and people behind me started shouting, "That's a terrorist, that's a terrorist."
Up on the stairs there was a voice that shouted, "He's a terrorist, he's a terrorist," and we saw somebody stumble down the stairs. And nobody could actually open fire, because if the guys on the stairs opened fire, the bullets could have gone through the person and hit somebody behind. If we'd opened fire, the same situation. If we'd hit the terrace where we were, the bullets could have ricocheted into our own men.
And then somebody shouts, "Grenade," and he had a fucking grenade in his hand.
So as he came clear at the bottom of the stairs, there was me and two other guys standing there. And as he came clear, we all fired a burst each, and the guy had 27 holes in him. That was it. There was no drama.
Yeah. God, yeah. 27 is the number that I like. Who wear number 27? Hey, I'm finna put that on my back next league I join. 27. Boy. What you thought you was gonna do?
Body just went. That was it. He was on the floor, dead.
Did you shout a warning?
No.
So be it. Ain't no warning. What they need a warning for? You know what you... Well, they didn't know what they signed up for, but, you know.
No, we shot him. He had a hand grenade, we shot him. That was it. End of story.
Yeah.
No reason to give him a warning. He might have had time to pull the pin out and throw the hand grenade in that time.
Had you killed a man before?
Yes. It was a job well done. There was no emotion at all. It was one of the simplest experiences up to that point in my life.
I swear, and I 100% wholeheartedly feel that. Like, as I hear, "Oh yeah, y'all did this, that, and the third." Another day at work. You know what I'm saying? Well done.
The actual assault takes 11 deadly minutes and leaves the embassy an inferno.
There's gas, there's confusion, and across in the far distance, staggering towards the front door, I could see Trevor Locke, and I ran across and grabbed him and pulled him towards the door. That was great. That felt brilliant, because we knew from that point in time that our number one priority had been achieved. Trevor Locke was out of the building and he was alive.
The hostages are bundled out of the back and manacled face down on the ground. But there's one hostage too many.
The routine is that everybody gets handcuffed, whether they're hostages, whether they're terrorists, everybody gets handcuffed. You've got control of them. They're not running around like chickens with their heads cut off. You've got them where you want them. And you've got Sim Harris on the floor lifting his head up and shouting across, "That guy's a terrorist, that guy's a terrorist."
They said to me, "Is he a terrorist? Are you sure he's one of the terrorists?" I said, "Yes, I am positive he's one of the terrorists." And they lifted him and he went off behind me somewhere.
Dang, one dude survived?
One of my team actually goes across and picks this guy up to separate him from the group and starts to walk back towards the building with him. So, myself and the other team member, we went across and said, I think we should put him down here, because we weren't quite sure where he was taking him.
You say you weren't quite sure where he was taking him?
We weren't quite sure whether he was going to take him back in the building or if he had any other ideas, so we just made sure that the procedures were followed correctly.
Okay.
And those other ideas might have been?
Some people would have expected him to be taken away and killed, but that would have been totally against policy. Totally against the rule.
I ain't gonna lie, at this point, Buddy's out the building. It would have been a little bit crazy.
And we had hundreds of policemen, and we had people with cameras, and we had the world's media on us. It would have been a very foolish thing for somebody to make that sort of mistake.
The operation is a spectacular success. All but one of the remaining hostages come out alive. The SAS withdraw to Regent's Park Barracks for a debrief and a beer.
This load of beers turned up. Everybody in this room, have a few beers, and there's television set up, and all these tins of beer, so everybody sort of, you know, quick swig.
That was amazing.
It was sort of like a pack of hounds. They just roared their welcome, and the air was thick with testosterone. It was an incredible atmosphere.
Both her and her husband were.
So will we all be on the same page if we thought this was probably one of the top things Margaret Thatcher did, or is that a stretch?
Very, very casual, and he was very, very much on our side, and he was quite upset that one of the terrorists had got out, I think, because he told us in no uncertain terms that we had failed in some respects.
What did he say?
He had a big grin on his face, but he was, his exact words were, "You let one of the bastards live."
Woo!
Suddenly, it was going through the start of it on the telly. It was like a news flash thing, you know.
You see you?
Ah, yeah, I see me.
30 seconds, 45 seconds later, a second explosion.
Of course, I'm trying to watch this. I mean, well, to me, it's not a funny thing. And there's this head right in front of me. You know, I'm a short arse, but there was this head right in front of me, and I said, "For fuck's sake," you know, I didn't know whose head.
He's short. For some reason, his aura is 6'6". Oh, I thought bro was tall.
It was Maggie. You know, I said, "Move your fucking head." I did. I actually swore. You know, and she, "I'm sorry," and she just moved. You know, didn't bat an eyelid. She just moved her head. You know, and she was actually sitting watching it as well. You know.
Was, I believe, a brilliant operation by the Special Air Services with courage and confidence. And I agree with my honourable friend that the performance both of the police and the SAS made us all, on all sides of the house, proud to be British.
Alright, it's clear that we don't mess with Margaret. Alright, my bad. I'm on y'all, I feel it.
The message to terrorists was, if you come to our country and you kill people, you're not going to go home again.
The siege,
as that should be the message,
made the reputations of Mrs. Thatcher and the SAS, but not everyone rejoiced.
The public at large saw that as a triumphant moment and something to be celebrated. I found it despairing. You know, some pride, if you like, with a very small p, that Britain was still capable of producing people who were this well trained.
Okay, yeah, I guess if you were in the moment, if you were a hostage, you might feel another type of.
And could execute something as brilliantly as this.
It was brilliant.
But dejection, I thought, it's just, you know, this is not civilized behaviour. This is not civilized behaviour. I can understand why it's happened, but I can't support it emotionally.
Salim and his comrades were assured they'd return to Iraq in triumph. Today they lie buried in East London. The only survivor, Fauzi Najad, was sentenced to life imprisonment. 22 years later, he's still behind bars in a British jail.
Good.
I feel very sorry for the deaths. I feel responsible for some of it. And I would have wished it hadn't happened. For me, it's
all the way to the end. We got a blur, huh?
represents failure, because I and my colleagues on the outside worked day and night to try and avoid all that spectacular rescue.
R.I.P. to the civilian that lost his life in this.
Did you feel anything for the 5 dead gunmen?
Not a bit. Not a bit.
Me sitting here watching it 20 years later, I don't feel anything at all. Nothing. But happiness. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You know, not a bit. They went into it, you know, with their eyes open.
they got used as crash dummies, but hey, that's on them.
Not recently, but certainly in past years, I would have, dreams in Technicolor about overpowering them all and, herding them out of the embassy and saving the day. That's my little secret dream. Didn't happen.
Did you feel a coward?
Yes. Yes. And I wrote, quite quickly afterwards, that now I know I'm a coward, and at least I know I'm a coward. And I feel good about that. I feel good about knowing it because I think people...
Man, brother, you're being real hard on yourself, man. What was you supposed to do in that? Guns a-blazing? Like, bro, you did the right thing, man. You acted when the opportunity presented itself.
Want to be tested, during their lives. And I was tested and I failed. That particular test.
I don't think he failed. I don't think he failed. I don't think he failed. Because imagine if he would have started, using his firearm, they would have started using their firearm, and a lot of people would have been in the line of fire. So you, in retrospect, not using your firearm probably saved some lives. You made a split-second decision, and I feel like you made the right one.
But I passed many other tests, self-preservation being a very good one.
Man, dang, I'm mad he had to go through the rest of his life thinking he was a coward, because he was not.
It haunts you, stays with you all the time. But you have to be strong enough, capable to live with it, get used to it, and don't allow it to stop you from living normally. It is always...
Yeah, I mean, he had kids to go home to. The SAS members did too. But also the SAS were highly trained in these exact moments. And they had superior firearms. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it was there all the time.
I'm glad I was there, put it that way. Because I think we did a good job that day. We achieved the aim. A lot of people came out of it alive.
You appreciate the sweet things in life. The birds in the trees, the smell of mown grass, that sort of stuff. Because let's face it, all of us in that building were near to the chance. I've never seen it again. And it's not until you've been given a second chance that you realise what you could have missed out on. And you appreciate it all the more. You're only here once. And it's best to make the best of it.
That's a factual statement, man. Unless you've been in some near-death experiences, like some real ones, and I don't want to hear, I fell and I tripped and I almost hit me. No, I mean some real stuff. You wouldn't know what that was about. And that's good. You don't want to be in no near-death experiences. But this is one of the best things I probably ever watched. This is definitely up there. TLO, leave a like, comment, subscribe, I'm gone.